Hello friends! While the actual dev streams from the Fun Pimps have been completed, ended, done with, zombie, whatever, we are now transitioning to them playing the game with Joel, Rick and Lathan doing a real gameplay stream, or a few of them, with of course talking and showing off the game. And it is looking great. It's so different visually and exploration wise that I'm really excited of getting my hands on it, my grubby little hands. Now watching the streams, there are a handful of things that really caught my eyes and my ears, so let's take a look, let's listen and let's discuss. Make sure you give that like button a whack as well. It's not a whack-a-mole, once is enough. Maybe ring the notification bell to get that nice little tinkling. So first off, and this really came in early in the stream, that they talked about the release date and progress, and well, it's not good news.
Hope everybody's excited.
All right, hey, let's get one thing out of the way while we're loading things up. So we all thought and hoped that we could get this in the community's hands before Halloween. There are 127 must-fix bugs in our queue. We're trying to get fixed up. So don't be disappointed if it takes longer than Halloween, but we're doing our best. Anyway, we're in the game.
So yeah, there are a crap ton of must-fix bugs for them to get through, which honestly sounds more like a November, maybe even December timeline, unless they can really get all those kinks worked out really quickly. Remember, not only do they need to localize the bugs to be able to reproduce them and find what's causing it, they also have to have a proper fix. Then they have to test it. They might have to fine-tune, refix, retest, final testing before it's all ready, so we'll see what happens. Base building with those 1200 shapes. It is still amusing to see Joel build with, well, the basic square block. You can however see them use the wooden baseboards, which is the new way of building, and then subsequently upgrading them to full wood. It would have been nice to see Lathan do some building so that we could have seen some more details of him working through the shape selector, the different shapes, because we have 1200 of them. So unfortunately we didn't really get to see that properly, but we did see them upgrading it.
No, we're good. We're good. There's the duct tape.
Shut the door, you're more in the barn.
What does it matter? Isn't there a... Can't they just jump up right here?
No, they can't jump up this high.
But you can see them being laid out very straightforward, and Joel has gotten the basics of a base up by day one, and while he might have been doing more building than exploring and looting, it still means that we should be able to get a safety base up even on the first day and the first night if we don't want to stick to the top of a PUI, for instance, which is something a lot of players do. And getting a basic thing up, I think is a good way. You should be able in most games get a basic, at least the shape of it. Don't need the roof or anything complicated, not a lot of defenses, but something basic, and they seem to be able to achieve that, which means that at least that progression seems to be good.
Sure you don't want me to light things on fire?
No, I did not. Hey, look at that, everybody. Here, there's some bandages in there if anybody needs it.
No fair. What do you got, a pipe shotgun or something?
The pipe rifle or whatever. Or machine gun, not rifle.
You get one already?
Yeah, it was in the...
Hey, I got a forge schematic. We could set up a forge.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what we can make with it. But, yeah.
Oh, and the pipe weapons. We knew these were coming, and we've seen the visuals, we've heard them shoot the animation, but we've never seen them really used in the game. During the playthrough, we did see them quickly assemble and use the primitive pipe weapons, have the machine gun, the pistol, and based on what we've learned, it seems super easy to get them. You need some pipes, glue, and wood, and it also seemed like they appear in early game loot, as when Lathan found a pipe machine gun. Days 1, and after only 20 minutes of game time. That was actually a bit of a concern to me because it felt way too fast. I suspect both are going to see even more limited use, as we'll be getting primitive guns day 1, well, pretty much effectively all the time. And not just, if you remember from previous versions, we might get a blunderbuss. Now we have a machine gun. Yeah, sure, it's a pipe one, but it works like a machine gun. It's not a super limited weapon like the blunderbuss. You know, if you remember some previous versions, we might have gotten like a hunting rifle. Hunting rifle, while it's good, is still super, well, it's a one-shot weapon, but a machine gun, maybe a little bit too much.
Well, how about this? Let's take a look. What do we need for... Oh man, this is awkward. I sold some short iron pipes. And I just had some glue. Man, I could have made this.
If we look at the crafting, it's also super accessible. You can achieve it by day 1, and you might also notice that Lathan has a crap ton of ammo. I mean, hundreds of rounds. He's on day 1. I mean, while I love the guns, there's definitely a balancing factor that they need to take into account, as progression-wise, that's really, really fast. I remember the old versions where you stuck to bows, clubs, and real primitive weapons for days, and we're not talking about shooting weapons, before you maybe could assemble a pistol, maybe hunting rifle. Those days seemed long gone. Now we have guns the first day after just 20-25 minutes of gameplay. And I think that's something they're going to have to work harder on balancing, because we're going to be, with hundreds of rounds on the first day. Why would you even bother with bows or even a basic club except for the first 5 minutes? Let's talk about the game. Something you can see from the get-go is that the environment is awesome. It's looking really rich, varied, with streets running through the towns and city features, all over. That might be traffic lights, you have the mailboxes, pedestrian crossings, and more. Now, this is not perfect, but it's a lot better than before. One interesting aspect of the tile system and the streets being wider and sort of having proper streets is that the POIs seem to be spread out more, which actually makes it look not so cramped. It looks a little bit more open, but also more unique. And that should also help with the performance, as too many buildings being close together can be really hard for the client to render and work with. So that should help. Now, a common comment that comes up in my videos is that things look too good. And I agree. If you notice, while there might be some tufts of grass around, there's very little trash. There's no destruction really. Maybe some broken cars litter the streets, but it doesn't look like a zombie horde made its way through and destroyed everything. It looks more like suddenly all humans, they picked up this trash, they sort of tidied everything up, made it neat, and then just vanished. This is something that they really need to work on to give it a more of an apocalyptic look. We're in a zombie apocalypse. We're not supposed to be in this clean-looking world. Some suggestions would be to maybe add in a lot of parts. And if you don't know what a part is, check out my video that was yesterday. But basically, these randomized features. So it could be a military roadblock, maybe broken bus shelters and not the pristine ones, burnt out or burnt down trees, burnt down buildings from fires and gas explosions, maybe makeshift stuff piled up on the road or next to a building as a last-ditch defense against zombies. Sandbags, razor wire, all that spread out to slow the zombie progression through a town. I suspect with parts, this shouldn't be too hard to get done, as I think all they really need to do is create a bunch of these parts and then randomly place them on the tiles and let the map generator do the rest. And onto the cool new zombies.
No.
Can we spawn together in A20 for co-op? No, not yet. But we have talked about that. Alright, now you can see the reload.
Oh, there's a spider coming.
There's a spider inside. Right behind you, Mammal.
You kidding me?
You were like, they can't jump this high.
Oh, he jumped. Did he jump over?
Here he comes.
Jumped.
I thought you left the door open or something.
No, he's back with you again.
We did get a proper look at a bunch of them during the stream. Now, the spider zombie is definitely a favorite of. I really like the new look of it, even though I think the AI is still weird. It definitely needs some work. It needs to jump to get the player and then attack more, maybe in a spider frenzy, because Right now it looks like it's the dumb AI where it jumps around, jumps away, and then it's more of a nuisance than a real threat. We also got to see the selection of these new zombie models that they put in, the HD one. Not all, because some are definitely going to be only showing up at higher game stage. Maybe, the white, the soldier, the burnt zombie needs, I think, the wasteland probably, but there's a lot of them in there and we only got to see a selection. But it's great to see some real gameplay and not just hear about it, not just hear about the features and see snippets. I'm excited. I am worried about the delay, so let's see where it ends up. And when can we get our hands on it? Well, that's a good question. Is it going to be October, November, December, beyond? Give me your best guess in the comment section below after you smash that zombie like button. See you next time, Survivor.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the Vedui community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.